No. Um, Page Reish Nun Ches. So we spoke about, in the middle of discussing, he spoke about two Madrigas Malchus. To explain the two Madrigas Malchus, he brings the dogma from two Madrigas and Kalim. Kalim, the Pnimis Kalim, Chetzanis Kalim. So he brought the dogma from the physical body, that the parts of the body, the limbs of the body that are kalim to the koyches nefesh. It's that part of the keli which is the most spiritual part, like the mayach has the lachluchim, spirit, lachluch is ruchnis, spiritual moisture, whatever that means. Or also the eye, the spirit, the cleanliness, I don't know, sparkling part of the eye. Okay. Now he talks about, so we're in the middle of doing that. So, go a step back. So much for mamish. Ike Indian Irvega Moy Had. So when they talking the difference, Nimis Akenim Chetzanis Akenim, page Reish Nun Ches. Ike Indian Irvega Moy Had. הוא מבחינת פנימיס הכלי, שאין עדיין ניב מבחינת הער מסחת. Concept of Gamoy Chad, the air and stuff is one united with the Gamoy, with the Kalim, really applies to the Nimis Kali, to that Madrig of the Kali, which is the Vierer. Mele Shane and Nivdom, it's not yet separate from the Nisachenberg. Aber Prinas Ritzain is a Kali, Uprinas Nivdom in Berger. But the external part of the Kali is Nivdom, it's separated. Now, in base, it talks about the Prinas Ritzain is a Kali, it's Levushim. Ba'atzilus, like we explained that there is a difference in levushim and tikkunim between that's entire over the difference between garments and tachshitim ornaments. So the tachshitim are part. That's the way it's explained there. Tachshitim is part of the body itself. Garment something outside. And it says over there the spheres of Atzilus are called tikkunim. And the spheres of Priya are called levushim, jewelry. Sorry, jewelry. And so in the Teres, what? Yeah, I don't know how it works in real. I guess that's to the beauty more. I'm not sure why Tachshitim are more. Okay, that's what it says in Torah. But here it says that Naim Beis, it says that even the Chitzonis Akedim in Atzilas Gufa, the Chitzonis Akedim are the Levushim, which is also lower. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, why am I going? That's it. When it says in Chassidus in a lot of places that in Atzilus Gufa, the Eires are Atzilus Shabatzilus. Okay, no, Atzilus Shabatzilus. Hainu ze Pritzenis Kelim. Pritzenis Kelim. They are the Bria Shabatzilus. Again, that's like the separate creation. Avo the Pnimis Kelim. Prince Ein Lo Prince Matzias Sadai. Schenken Pnimis Kelim is a state of Ein Lo Matzias. Wie mir ist Prince Chachem Bechesed Ein Prince Matzias Sadai. Yeah, it talks again. He brings into this paradox. It's Chachman Chesed, but not a Metzias Chachman B'Chesed. It's the total expression of the end. Again, I last first time alone that after that I put up on the WhatsApp the concept Misabasar Nasakli. So that's what's interesting. That I'm not but usually Misabasar Nasakli. The idea of Misabasar Nasakli is trying to show the Kli is really an extension of the earth. So that usually means shows the union of that are connected. There is a closeness. But here, in this mimer, he's looking from the other perspective. It's Abbas. The earth is Abbas means it becomes more thickness, which means he says I guess in some way, in some ways, this concept of his Abbas is used in the opposite direction. His Abbas expresses Yesh Ma'ayin. So again, I don't. maybe if you split it more, you can understand the difference. But generally speaking, he brings in the concept of Isabasan Asakli here in this Maimon in the context of Fakir. That's Yesh Ma'ayin. It's Shalei Be'erach. It's a male of, again, so the fact that it's Akeli is Ayin. Ayin is no Isabus. Ayin means that it's mufshet. It's abstract. It's not Isabus. It's not thick. Isabus Asakli, that's a low grade. That's an infant. Okay, so that's step one. So we know in Keinim the Tomadregas is Pnimis in Chitzonius. Pneumius is the ayin, the part that's bottled, the part that's not, it's connected to the oil. Chitzonius is the external, which is separated. I said that sometimes the muscle something very gashmisdik, that in a cup, and let's say a cup is a keli, right? So the inner part of the cup takes in the water. That's the outer part of the cup. It's just the way you hold it. It's more removed from the oil in this muscle is the water or whatever is in the cup. So it's more removed. It's more a way to pour it out. That's sometimes uses that much. In a way, it's more megushimdik, but in a way, it's easier to grasp than the shot is here. Hold it. But the oil kav shines in both. In the pnimis and the chitzon. Now, it's like the pnimis what level of the kav shines in the oil and the pnimis is different. The level of the oil kav that shines in the pnimis akeli, that's the etzem oil, means the higher level and a more essential partner. The level of oil, it's united with that part of the keli, with the pnimis akeli. Chitzon akeli me'rak oshkunis is galus. Chitzonius gets that aspect of the oil, which is only ashpov is gas l'chutz, external. The ainu l'tzorich ha'isavos, that level of oil whose function is for the purpose of his havos. L'tzorich zulosi, not la'atzmai. Oil shemei la'atzmai zulosi, l'tzorich ha'isavos. Vein of chitzonius tzardas mamash. Maybe it's not in a total state of unity with the kli. רק עיר ברמה אחד, okay, brings another losh. עיר ברמה אחד, דיבר במעליות מיש מאין ליש. It's interesting. Earlier he said, that's the difference. Earlier he said, עיקר הנה פי ברמה אחד, is in pnimis akli. It's mamish united. And when you get to chitzonius akli, that's the losh you might take from copies from Yosef Simon Chov. Quotes, not copies. Quotes the losh from Simon Chov. עיר ברמה אחד, ליבר במעליות מיש מאין. The achad only expresses itself in the fact that through them it creates, but it's not really one. Okay. So we finished discussing. That's interesting. I mentioned yesterday. It's interesting that to explain the Tumadregas and Malchus, he brings in order to explain that he gets in the Olarichas the Tumadregas and Kelim. With Nimis Chatzenis a Kelim. Do we understand it better in Kelim than in Malchus? But okay, it's just that's the way. Especially in this Shabbos, he brings one concept to explain the other concept. There's a similarity, but the idea is that we see that in Kelim there are two stages, two levels. There's the level, the Kelim, the way it's Pnimis HaKeli. Think about it. Maybe we'll talk in the mashal. Maybe the easiest way for us to relate to it is also mashal. I have a Talmud that I guess when the teacher teaches the student, so there's ways how the student gets it. There was a student who was more connected to the mind of the teacher. Maybe that will be a mashal pnimis hakeli. That's connected more and it's more removed from its own separation. Hashenkin chitzonius hakeli is like a lower level student. That will be a mashal. It's easier for us to relate to.
Well, it could be yeah, but it's not even. But it's only chitzonius.
Yeah,
That's he's making a creation through it.
Well, yeah, creates so that creation is a chutz. Creation is sinas makam lezulas. That's the point. So the creation means that there's something outside. Is coming out of your own infinity and affecting the outside. So going back to the original discussion, so the similar to the way we described in the Kelim, similar to the Kumoishi about Zilus, Meir Ba'etzem, Princess Harness. I mean, maybe that's why I wanted to bring the mashal from Kelim, because in Kelim we have these nuances. That in Kelim there's Etzem Oil and it's Princess Harness. So it's the same thing. Malchus, the difference in Malchus, the way it's not the way it's in Bria. Wait, and Atzilus mehr by Etzem, the level of Atzilus that gets the Etzem plus Princess Artis. It's united. Yeah. מה?
מה שרצה להגיד פה פיסה ושעיר, זה רצה לענות לשאלה בשבילו.
מה איזה שאלה? בטח שרצה לענות לשאלה, לא. מה, איזה שאלה רוצה לענות? תגיד, בסדר.
שבעצם שיש לי פיסה ועל ידם.
נו, אז מה התירוץ? לא, אבל נעשה קליפ פנס יש מאין. מה בסדר, נכון, מה שאתה אומר, זה נכון, אבל מה שמפריע לי פה, לא מפריע. צריך להבין יותר טוב, זה לכאורה, ההגדרה של מיסה בסדר נעשה הקליפ, עקרונית, המטרה שלה להראות שהאור והכלי הם קשורים. זאת אומרת שלא שהכלי זה משהו חדש, האור עצמו יורד מדרגה ונהיה כלי, כן? זה הפשט הפשוט של מיסה בסדר נעשה הקליפ, כן? פה הוא רוצה להגיד ההפך, יש מאין, הוא רוצה להגיד שהכלי הוא נפרד. למה הוא משתמש במושג של מיסה בסדר?
זה עצמו השאלה.
נו, מה התירוץ? מה התירוץ? זה פרנס חיצוניסט, זה התירוץ.
לא, זה לימוס.
איפה התירוץ? צריך מחשבה עוד. אורי.
מה שהתירוץ הוא רק שזה...
לא ברור לי. כן, אבל אם ככה, בסדר, אוקיי, אולי, צריך לקרוא את זה יותר טוב. אולי, so that's the difference in Malchus. Malchus the בעצם, זה בעצם ביחד. כמו יובן זה גם כן נשמס. Now it brings another dogma. First the dogma from Canaan, and it brings another dogma from Neshamas. The Neshama, כמו של Milo, okay, that's the marshal. We can also relate to more than the marshal from Canaan. Neshama, כמו של Milo, from the Tachas Eichel, Rabbi Talman, Rabbi Talman, the way the Neshama is the Milo, not only is it in a pure state of connecting the Ebershter, but it's even higher than Malach. The Ichud and the Bittul, the unity and the Bittul is even more than Malach. The Abayas, Malach, and the Yitzir Bria, Ari Lamaila, Abba, Maveda Lamato. The Abayas Malach is also much higher. But Abayas Hamash Neshama is Lamaila, Gavay, Maveda Malach. I feel the Atzilus. Now it tells in another union. Feel the Atzilus, which sometimes it says Misa Malach by Atzilus. There's no such thing. But sometimes it says that there is a concept of Malachim and Atzilus. So the Neshama is even higher than Malachim and Atzilus. Neshama is some Meichud Avo. K'meshekosov digas HaKadosh Simachov. Because the Neshama of Atzilus come from Meichud Avo. B'ridos Lemato. Mashenke B'ridos Lemato. So that Mashenke B'ridos Lemato. אף משום צד יגום היו דבר ביר ובתענוגים לא יגיע למעלס דבקות בהשם בתחילו וברכים יותר מדוס הנמז. So that's a quote from Tanya, כמו שכתוב בתניא פרק ל"ז. So in Tanya it shows how the Yeridus and the Neshama is such a radical Yerida. So what does it show? The Neshama also has two parts. The Neshama, there's the way the Neshama is the mile and the way it's the matter. But there's the Yom Chazam Malchus, שאין את די מייחוד בגוץ ובין סבא, כמו שבהציל, זה כמו שעוד ביה. So you can see the mashal in Kelim and we have the mashal in the Neshama. Mashal dogma from Kelim and the Neshama. וזהו בייז המדרגת from the Siyam Be'ot Shem Malchus. He started the Seif saying that the two madrigas Siyam Be'ot is Alma Diskas, Alma Disgalia, Bri Nitzir. But the rest of the Seif he spent is telling us not. In Malchus Guf, as first Malchus itself has the two parts. There's the Yam and Oretz, the way there is the way Kameshi Ba'atzilus, the Kameshi Nimshachs Labiyah, and the marshal from the dogma from Kelim, the dogma from the Shams. We'll get into the Kitzur, Tov Samach Vov. Yes, very the Kitzur. By base, Pinas Machas Ba'atzilus Labiyah. He skips even the Albri and Nitzir. So the Chatchila talks the Machas Labiyah. V'yovi dogma Pnimis HaKelim. It's HaKelim. And the Shama Lamayla, but also Belamas. It's a dogma of the Tuma Drigas and Malchus from the Shama Lamayla and Shama Lamas. That's the Yama Yabosh. Well, you know, but can. You know, the inner Malchus for the Samotsu, that's to explain it better. What is it? Why is it Malchus have both parts? In the Malchus of the Samotsu, and Atzilus to be Malchus is the intermediary interface between Atzilus and Bia. ככה מלכות, בדיוק כמו נשומס. גוב. נכון, נכון. שאלה טובה, לא יודע מה להגיד לך, אבל זה מה שכתוב פה. אוקיי, בסדר. יש פה שתי דוגמאות. If you want to really, you have to break your head to understand all these nuances, but probably each of these two Mishonim adds something else, you know. זה מדי פשוט, תומר. זה מדי פשוט. Yes. בדיוק. אז אותו דבר, וגם במלכות, כמו שראינו בביאה, אז למה צריך לדבר, לכאורה כשאמר מיד בהתחלה הרב, מלכות זה אצילוס, לכאורה, בשביל מה צריך להסביר את זה? עוד הסבר אחד מכאילו, עוד הסבר מנשם, אז מה הוא רוצה, כנראה שהוא מוסיף פה בהבנת הדקויות פה. הנקודה היא ככה, אני לא... זה שבאמת צריכים. והנה מאחוס ונצא את הבייה. מאחוס בכלל is known to be the במוצא. ליאס דבייה בין הערך גבי הציל. אני חושב שכל הנקודה פה, רוצה להראות פה כמה שבמלכוס גוף זה אותו מלכוס. כל הזמן אותה נשמה כנראה. שזה לא שני דברים נפרדים. למעט את המחשבה שזה בכלל שתי מדרגות שונות. זה לא במדרגה, same מדרגה in higher level and lower. So that's why it brings them further the Malchus הממוצע. ויש זה בייה בין ערך גבי אצילוס, because בעצם בייה שלא בערך האצילוס, אצילוס, או ליכוס, ובייה, יש לו עדיפות, צריך להיות ממוצע ביניהם. Because these two spiritual worlds are so distant from each other. They have different dimension. So in order for one to affect the other, there must be an intermediary. They call another interface to connect. כמו שנועים גם הגשמיות, see it בגשמיות כאשר משפיע, אבל כמה רגעים זה מזה, and the teacher and the student are so distant from each other in the way they understand things. So for that you need an intermediate. Similar to the kinds of metugman that existed in Bimei Hazal. Because the Rav, the teacher, was speaking. He was way above the people. They couldn't get it. It's not just you translate the language. The language is also part of it, but it's more than the language. It's part of the concept. Where it's seriously, I do a mutter from Kal Marav Mashpia Elav. We need a mutter, the Meturgamon who received the idea from the speaker, from the teacher, and he gave it over to the people, to the listeners, in a way that they can understand it, can relate to it. What is the Metugman? Metugman himself, the Metugman is a type of entity that has both. It has an erech to the Rav. He can understand what the Rav says. At the same time, he also has that ability. He gets the language of the people. He understands what they want, what they can understand. Move on. It doesn't mean Tugman is not someone that just takes the words from the Rav and he translates the words exactly or just repeats them. That's not a real chayzer. What happens in his mind is that the Ashpas Rav is swallowed in him, it's hidden. he conceals it. Because in other words, if the idea of the Rav will shine in his mind in a clear, in a strong way, he won't be able to lower himself to the level of the Am. So in order for that to happen, it has to be concealed, it has to be hidden. Then there is the transformation in his mind. It translates it in his mind to something else. He hides what the Rav said, so to speak, boy, and transforms it. He translates it in his mind in a language that the Am can relate to. In other words, what he's trying to, he's getting is now also to explain why is it called Iskasi. The Yam, the I-11 Malchus, it's called Iskasi. Why is it Iskasi? He says in this marshal from the Meturgamon in his mind, the clarity of the clarity and the strength of the Seichel Arav is in a way of Isalmos. Malchus receives the Eres of Atzilus, the Giluim of Atzilus, but Shem is Salmi from this Malchus. The way it receives it, it hides them. In order to be able to go to the next step, they have to be hidden, because if they will stay in a revealed manner, you will never be able to go to the next step. Sometimes it's called Ishmael, I know. So that's the Yam. That's Yam is Miskasi. It's Misalnim. Then the lower level of Malchus. It's interesting they didn't say the word Yam over here, but it's implied. The lower level of Malchus. That's already the way it transformed the idea, the oil is in a way that Biyah can be a keli for it. So that's two madrigas in Malchus. So that's the famous Lashon in Kabbalah, is Medayik, and the Lashon of, we say in davening, Emes v'Emunah kol Zois v'Kayim Aleinu, so there's a stira. Zois is Nekeva, and Kayim is Zocho. So says Kabbalah, Shamachos and Mashpia gam Mekabel. There are two parts in Malchus. There's Mashpia and Mekabel. That's Zois is the Mekabel, Lashon Nekeva, but Kayim Aleinu, Kayim is Lashon Zocha. That's the Mashpia. So what's higher? The Mekabel is higher. Prince Mekabel Shabal Lamaila, Prince Mashpia Shabal. Einish Mekabel is Eretz Atzilus. So Malchus receives the Eretz Atzilus. Misalmin Ba, this is Nasus the Malchus. Holy Nasus from the Sel. Okay, so he adds another kvetch over here. That aspect of his almost that's called the Nasus Shabal Malchus. This Nasus means that Malchus is higher than the Mekablim. That's why it's Mailim. Just like someone who's Menusa, he's above everyone, so he hides his real being. It's a real his inner power. Because if he will reveal it, the Mekablim, he won't be able to be a melech to be a melech. In order for the melech to control the people, he has to be removed from them. Now, melech ein eroim, I say. He has to be in a state of itznat. And the next step of Malchus is the Mashpia and Biyah, which is the Yerida, not Isnasis. Okay, so he gave us a short description of the inner of Malchus, the Yam ve'oret Malchus. In other words, in the previous Seif he spoke. It's really, again, like I mentioned a million times. Now he starts another point now. So really, here he finished the idea of Malchus, that he started the whole discussion, and he explained why it's Yam and Eretz. So first he had the Mashal of Kalim, then he had the Mashal of Neshamas, and now he had the Mashal of Meturgamon. So the difference is in Meturgamon, we see that in Malchus, we just say it's here and there. First it's one step, then step two. Meturgamon means it's one entity. It's called the Meturgamon. He has both. So in that Mashal, we see in a way the two aspects. But just in Kalim and Neshamas, we also said what are called Kalim, what are called Neshamas. But here it's a Mashal which is closer. Anyway, so we finished discussing Malchus, but now he's taking us higher. Kashem, Shemas Malchus, it says similar to the way he explained the sphere of Malchus. Ken? Yeah. מפריע לך מאוד, אני רואה. מה? נו. Yeah.
גם מוכרת וגם נפטרת.
כן, כן. זה שתי מדרגות. למה? הנשמה, כמו שאמרנו, מיילו, הם דוויקוס, ואז לא יגיע למעלה דוויקוס בהשם, התחילו לברכים אתם את הסנש. לא יגיע, זה לא יגיע, זה נקרא שזה שלי בערך, נו.
מה רוצה להגיד? כן, רוצה להגיד ככה. אם זה כלים כל כך קרובים אליו, כל כך מתאחדים מאוד, יש חצי ניסיון, חצי ניסיון, בהם רק מהיר, האור סקר וצריך השפוע, לא בעצם, לא בעצם. מה עכשיו זה יותר גבוהות, אם כל זה כשירדו למטה, הם לא יהיה להם את הפעולה.
לא, הם יותר נמוכות גם ממלוכים.
אין לך את האפקט הזה של ההתאחדות למעלה, כמו שיש לך בכלים ומתורגים.
מסכים, אני מסכים. אני לא מדבר על זה. זה דיבר קצת.
את המשל של המשומס,
לפעמים כתוב, כתוב לפעמים אכסידס, לא יקר הנשמה נשארת למעלה, רק האור מהנשמה אומר למטה. אז אולי לפי זה קצת יותר דומה. לא יודע. אוקיי, אם יש לך פירוש יותר טוב, אני אשמח לשמוע. אוקיי. Okay, good, fine. Shem Shamalchus. What's I mean, that says to be yes, it's similar to the way we described Malchus as a mamutza, but it has both. Yam and Eret, Kamoy, Kimprinis Akesa, Mamutza, Bainer, and stuff, Hamatzah, and it's all, so it says in Kabbalah that Keser, you know, there was a and originally there was a shar, there's all shar in Pardes called Imo in Sofo Keser. Because the concept of Keser in the Ulim Kabbalah, there was a shitted Keser means the Amish themselves. That's Keser. Then the Pardes said no, the Keser is in a Mamutza. So it's both. It's a Mamutza, but it's sorry. Shiur is a boy Kabbalah because the Eir is the way they're in the net Solim, they're in the way of Kabbalah. They're limited. Okay, this guy, I don't understand also what he wants with it. The three levels in the Eretz. So the way so what does it say? Anto chad lev chushbon, anto iloy kol namin, stimul kol stimul, anto dafikas sasfir. So he says like this: that the madrega of anto chad lev chushbon is chad mamish. That's the etzem ha'oyer, which is above chushbon, above the chushbon of the sphere. It's above the 10th sphere. Abase, then the second level is shenim shochim im koiram v'adayin lo nislapshu b'kein. The oyeres are already left the source. They're drawn, they're pulled down from the source. At the same time, lo nislapshu b'kein. They still don't have kelim. Well, ze omro b'sefer Yitzira. So this concept of this Nishachim and Koyim, Lo Nislapshu B'Kelim, that's expressed in Sefer Yitzir in the words Esas Spheres Blima. It's Esas Spheres, but it's Blima, which means, he says, Shemprinas Esas Spheres, I'm calling Blima, Blimus Metzias Tova. Ve'ikar inyan Yeh V'chayo Yechad Madrega Zo. Why is Ikar Yeh V'chayo Yechad? Because in the first one, it's not a Chidush. It's a Chatchil of one. Second, I think it's already Esas Spheres, but the way the Esas Spheres are that in Beretz Esas Shebe'eres, the way the Eres are in Esas Spheres is Blima. Yeh V'chayo Yechad. Ve'hagimel K'moy Shehein Nislapshu B'Kelim. The third level is Nislapshu B'Kelim Sheboy V'Knis Musa Metzias Dova K'moy Shkos Makmach. Then the I think K'moy Shkos Makmach applies to all three. So the third level of the Eres is the way it reaches the Kelim. When the oil reaches the kelim, it already has a shape and a color. That's what it says in Pardes. Maybe that you know in the Sfadish Sidurim, the Shemus Havaya Nikud, but this is really taken from Kabbalah. Some Shemus Havaya, the Pat, all of the letters have a Patach, have a Tzera. says the Kabbalah, the one is Chochma, one is Bina. So that shows, she says that Nikud or Atzir Shebe'er. The Nikud, the way we see it in our world, it's really represent the idea of the Tzir Shebe'er. The way the interesting. There's the Keli, but then the Tzir Shebe'er, that's the Nikud. But okay, so what is he? He started saying Oiris and Bagbola. So I think what he started, so in order to explain the concept of Oiris and Bagbola, he brought in the three levels of Oiris, and the lowest level, that's the ultimate Agbola. Mashenga v'atzma shein sof ksiv, el mita dem univesh. The guy that the pasuk says that el mita dem univesh. It's impossible to compare him to anything, which means ain't shum di. The immune not it's not only comparing, but also change from dimion with seal cloud.
So David,
Yes.
so see what the shiur is different than Mistama than the Hecholos and than the Sephirot definitely. But what the shiur?
Seal is different. What?
Shiur is different than Hecholot or different than what's a shiur? This is new concept.
No, much higher than Hecholot. Talking about the Eures themselves. Have a tzir, they have a shape, they have a definition. It's defined. This Eure is defined as Eure Chesed, Eure Chochma. So that itself is a Agbala in the Eure.
So you're going back to Sephirot because also as you mentioned the Shemos that sits in the Sephardic Sidurim also in the parentheses some of them it says Chesed Geura Tiferet.
Right, exactly. Look what it says here. It says here Havai Benikut Pasach B'Chochma. So the sphere of anytime Havaya, Shem Havaya has the patach, that means Chochma. It relates to the sphere of Chochma. But Havaya Bechlal is the sometimes it says also the Havaya versus Alikim. Havaya is the Eiris and the Alikim is the Kedim. So Havaya is the Eiris. The Eiris themselves also have a tzir. That's the remez. You're right. Okay, exactly. We're talking about the of the spheres.
So the shiur is basically boils down to Sephiros. The shiur.
Yes, tzir is the spheres, but the point is it's not the tzir, the kelim themselves, it's the tzir of the way the kelim are mitzayir the oirs. The oirs are in a state of tzir. Yes, it's a little more subtle. But you're saying spheres v'chlal, oirs v'kelim. But here is talking about the oirs. The oirs themselves also have a certain definition. Oira chesed, oira gvur. It says chochma and bina here. Patach is chochma and tzeir is vina. Sha'nikud atzir shebe'oir. So the fact that there's a nikud on the Hashem Havaya, which is the oil, is marames that the oil itself has a agbola and a tzir. That's the point he's making here. In other words, Bichlal, we think generally before we read what he said here, the idea was oil is pshutim, the oil are pashut, and the kelim make the tzir. Here he's talking within the oil is gufa. The three madrigas and the lowest level, the oil itself is mitzuya. The oil itself has some kind of definition. I think that's why it's Havaya, because Havaya Bechlal is oiris. That's what it says in Kabbalah and other places, that Havaya is Maramas and the oiris. So the idea here is, again, going back a step, he started saying, the first line said, Sha'oiris and Boim Chis Hagbola. The way the oiris are not still is the oiris themselves become limited and defined. So in order to explain that, he says there are really three stages in the oil. That's the oil, and the second level there, the lowest level that it's mamish has a seal in the oil. Mashenken, he wants to differentiate between the two madrigas and the oil. So there's the level of the oil that reaches the kelim, and that oil is not it's not talking about the kelim. The oil itself has a seal. The oil is spheres, and then the atmosphere itself meter them universe. That does not dimion in the level of atmosphere and stuff, which means the matzil, which is called the matzil, the air and stuff, which is above atzilus, only dimion with tzil. So he uses the word dimion when just in practical terms. When you imagine something, you imagine a shape of something, not necessarily a physical shape. You imagine something which is tangible, that you can imagine it. See, something that you can imagine, that's already something limited and defined. Says the Ebershter, the concept of Dimion doesn't apply to him. Why? Because the Ebershter, it does applies to Madrega by itself. Atzilus, which he calls the Atzmus, Atzilus himself. So the ancient demon with Seal, because of the boy. Okay, so what he did right now is just describe the Ein Arich, of the Ein Sof Shelifnei Atzilus, and the way it's in Atzilus. So the Ein Arich Sof Shelifnei Atzilus, they meet the Amuni. The way they reach Atzilus, they have a Tzil, like Shem Havai Patach. So that's the Ein Arich. So how does it happen? How does that transformation happen from the Madrega of Ein Sof Shamita Damuni, above any definition or limitation, to the Madrega of Eres in Shabbatzilus have a tzir? How does that happen? He says, "Oh, alidei memutza." So, in order for that to happen, we need a memutza. We need something that connects them, an intermediary. Who b'chinas hakesser? So this is really the function and the meaning of the madrega of kesser. Kesser is that memutza between the Ein Sof and the Eres of Atzilus. And like we said earlier, just like the Meturgaman, and has two parts to him. There's that part of him that's makabel from the Rav, and the part of him is mashpia to the Talmud. So similar here, the memutza is that the lowest madrega of the Ein Sof Shelifnei Atzilus. And the lower level of Kesser, that's Sheresh Makan Etzonim, that's like the Meturgaman, the way he can relate to the Talmidim, to the listeners. So as we know that, we know from other based cities that the two Madrigas and Kesser are called Atik and Arich. What's the difference? Prinas Atik, Prinas Tachteinish Vamatzil, Boy Misalim Prinas Machos Ein Sof. Okay, those in another point here. That in other words, all the Madrigas before Atzilus, which is generally called Malchus Ein Sof, that is in the Madrig of Atik. That's like the Meturgaman, the Madrig of the Meturgaman, the way he's makabel from the Rav. That's the Madrig of Atik. Arich means that he is the source and the beginning of the Netzoni, of the makabel. That is Medag, the Lashon of the name. So Nika Atik Yoimin. So the Arich Madrig is called Atik Yoimin. That's the Lashon of Pasuk in Daniel. The Arich Anpin, that's a Lashon. I don't think that's a Lashon Psukim. The Arich Anpin is more in Zohar. So what's the difference? Arich Anpin, Atik Yoimin means all. So what does it mean? This is Medrumas. Arich Anpin means who. Shegama Arichos, even Arichos means Melashon in infinity, like Yom Shekule Orich. That type of infinity, that's a connection to Anpin, which is a face. What is a face? Anpin is a face. A face has a shape. What does it mean in Kabbalah language? The Pchinas Apnimis. So that aspect of a Kesser, which is called Arich Anpin, is connected to Pnimius. Anpin is also Moshe Pnimius. Ponim, Pnimius. Anpin is Aramaic for Ponim. What does it mean? The Zayin Tachten is the Arich Mislapshem Ba'atzilus. That Madrega can be Mislubash in Atzilus, in the Pnimius of Atzilus. It says in Priyat Chaim, of the Pasuk Avodim Ein Far Mitzrayim, I think, there's the Avomal Bishim the Zoyes La'arich. The Ava Va'ima, which is Chachma Bina Atzilus, they are the garments of the hands of the Zoyes, whatever. The Arich. Okay, so all these are Kabbalah language to that explain why the Madriga is called Arich Anpin. It's like a Arich, it's like a part of the Ein Sof, but Anpin. It relates to shape and connected to Atzilus. In as Atik Yoimin, Mashenkin Prince Atik Yoimin, which is the higher Madriga. Why it's called Atik Yoimin? It's also Marumas in the word Atik Yoimin. How? He says, the Yoimin im Zayin Tachtoinois, the Yoimin of Atik. The word Yoimin is like Shiva Yoimin, which is Zayin Tachtoinois, is the 7 low Madrigas of Atik. With Kol Makoim, Agam Shem Stavshem Ba'arich Anpin, and Kol Makoim is Hatoka V'Avdol. It's still called Atik. Atik Meloshna Hatoka V'Agbola. It's netak, removed. Vayatek Mishom. He moved away from there. It's netak. It's removed from the madrege of Yomin. Okay, so they gave us a little explanation why these two madreges in a kesser, the yam ve'eretz shaboy, the pnimius, and we can call it also sometimes called pnimius and chitzenius shaboy. Interessant. Here he doesn't use this language. Trina tachtoina. So what is that? They're called atik yamin. Arachantin atik yamin means the yamin are in a state of atik netak. And there's netak from the yamin, and antin means fakir, that the arich is in a way of antin. That antin, that's pnimius. So that's
What's
the next.
Yomin?
What?
What's Yomin? Atik Yomin. Yomin is what?
It said a yamin is the design tachtoinus of atik, which is yamin, like shiva yamin, design tachtoinus. Even that, agam, it said agam shemislab shem be'arich amikom kemachnis ha'toka v'avdol. It's stuck mislavish. It's here yamin because, like let's say in the mashal and the metugman, at the end, the metugman reaches that's that madrega of the metugman. That's the way that's removed, but in the end, it reaches the makablim. But the way it stays in the higher level, it's in the way of atik netak. It's removed. That's how you explain it. Okay, so we finished talking about kesser. Now he's going to the next step. Moi kempres machas dein sof. Similarly, machas dein sof also. Ukrias memutza ben atzis and sof ben kolos agirundoils. Just like he explained it between Atzilus and Biyah, and between the Eretz of Hamatzah and Atzilus, takes us a notch higher now. Moi kempres machas dein sof, the learn in Kabbalah that Lifnei Atzimtzum is something called machas dein sof. So that memutza ben atzis and sof ben kolos agirundoils. This is also like a memutza, like a meturgaman between the atzmus in the essence and the and the elements, anything that's created after the tzimtzum.
Why did they have Hashem and the race? What does that have to go through?
The answer is not why. That's how the system is working. Why is it done this way? Because it's a famous question. You know, sometimes it says, well, see, there's that Atzilus is the memutza between the Eibush and the world. Atzilus. Then it says between Atzilus and Biyah, and another memutza. Between Atzilus and Biyah, it's all a bunch of memutzaim in the middle. So the general answer is Bichlal. Why do we need the Shtalshlus? The Eibush just create the world. The answer is the Eibush wanted to create the world in a way we should be able to relate to him. We should feel him. We should connect to him. So now the connection to happen, you need gradual, all these gradual memutzaim. If everything, it will be just a jump, it'll be like you don't know. You don't know him at all. You just throw. There will be a separation. There will be a nituk between the Eibush and the world. In order, the Eibush wanted he should be. The world should get him. So that's why I need all these various levels of memutzaim. Each memutza signifies that idea. It's taka yesh, the paradox. It's taka yesh ma'ayin. It's shaloi be'erech. But there must be something to connect them. Not because the Rebbe wanted to create the world in a way that we are connected to him. That's why the reason of all these memutzaim. That explains. No, that's not. It's explained. Yeah, that's explained the cities. Why we need all these memutzaim. We want us to relate to it. We don't want it to be. That will be a disconnect. So, yeah. So sometimes it says nisim. A lot of things in this world make, and even the fact the world is created in a way that mistakenly can say in the way it's a satzman. The fact that our mind tells us in the way it's all these are aspects of the fact that the Eibishter created the world in a way that we can relate to him. That he should be able to connect to him. Okay, that's the general answer. Even though we can't really, but there's some kind of connection. Okay. What? Not what? That's a difference. אנו רוצים בשייך עכשיו. כמו כן, מבחינת מלכוס, the אינסוף, מבחינת ממוצע, בין עצמס אינסוף, מבחינת גבול. So in that level, you also have the ממוצע. שהקו בכלולוס ניקו שכינה. Right after the tzimtzum, there was a הקו. Like and that's called Shechina, like the Rebbe brings in the first Maimer, the first Seif. So he says the Ika Shechina b'tachteinu, he says Madrigas and Shechina, he says the highest level of Shechina, he says, is the Kav. Rebbe brings it from a Maimer in ein Ches, a different Maimer in ein Ches, in Mitzvahs and Stishkeit. Al Shem Sheshechen Ba'Elamis. Why is the Kav called Shechina? Because Shechen Ba'Elamis, because it dwells in our world. Shenim Shech Lo'Elamis, K'mesh Kotzim HaKamachar. So again, he wants to explain how the union of Memutza, a Machaz inside the Memutza. The Kav, the Chitzonius, the Kav is the Madrega, which is male Achar Tzimtzum. That is related to Eilamis. It's similar, it's Shlei Be'er, but it's similar to the concept we learned until now. In Malchus, in Kesser, the Shaykh Eilamis. Ve'atzmus in itself, Mashenk, the Atzmus in itself, which means that Madrega, L'mayla, Shnifna Tzimtzum, which is above everything, Ein Be'er Eilamis. V'sh'ut zech liyas at Tzimtzum. That's why when he's not for Tzimtzum, Be'er in itself, Sh'nis Alam Oyer, Sh'pnes Ein Sof, Sh'pnes Bli Gvul, V'nim Sh'al Yad Tzimtzum, Sh'pnes Ein Rakav, Sh'pnes Mido Gvul. So the Oil stuff shall live near Tzimtzum, the Oil stuff shall Achar Tzimtzum, the Kav, that's the difference, that's to Madrigas, it's a Bligvul and Gvul, so they're Gamkid, Yam, Ve'eretz. B'chinas Yam, so these two, so both of these, he started saying, B'chinas Machaz Ein Sof, but really both of these are within Machaz Ein Sof. Like it's explained in Chassidus that when he say that there was a Tzimtzum, what does it mean? That means that's already the Madrega Aloi Sarot. That's within the Madrega of Lemailot of Malchus Dein Sof. That he already, it's already in that stage that he wants to, that there's a, he wants, means that there's a Yachas to Oilamis, he wants to create Oilamis, and that goes for, it's in a way, it's Blig Vuls, and all the Oilamis to be created, needed Tzimtzum. So in that, so the way it describes it, Malchus Dein Sof is two parts. There is the Madrega Shalifnei Tzimtzum, and the Madrega Shalachar Tzimtzum. One is Yama, one is Eretz. So that's what he says here. Okay, what's the Lashon? The Yam of Prince God Shalifnei Akav, Shesham Nisal himself. Yam means the Eretz of Ligvul. That's Lifnei Akav, and that's why it's called Yam, by that Yam, because to the Tzimtzum Nisalim, it was hidden. It's not, the Eretz of is not revealed. Oi, then another explanation. Okay, now it was in another point, which is more complicated. Oi, the Prince Yam, Prince Rishim. Then it says, Prince Yam can be also called the question is whether Yam is the eagle, Agod, or the Rishim. What's the difference in the Agod and the Rishim? Okay, so usually in Chassidus, exactly. Usually it's explained in Chassidus that's within Machas Gufad. The eagle, Agod, is there's a blig. The Rishimu, there's the Koyach HaGvul Shebein Sof. So he says it can explain the concept of Yam two ways. Either it applies to the Koyach HaBligvul, which was hidden, or it applies to Koyach HaGvul. שזה רוישם, eine Scheuer של לא ינהג בהצמצום, שזה פנס רוישם, אכשר ניסל פנס רוישם. It's both. In a way, it's לא ינהג בהצמצום, but at the same time, it's ניסל פנס רוישם. The whole Rishimu concept is its own sugya, but the way I think we tried to explain it the first time, the Rishimu is Koyach HaGvul, so when the Oyer and stuff is hidden, what's left, the Koyach HaGvul. Now, the way the Oyer and stuff lives, the Gvul itself was not affected. The Koyach HaGvul is the same Koyach HaGvul it was before. It was verkehrt. It was affected in the opposite way. That got revealed. Now we feel, so, but it's revealed, but since it's a Gebola, what's revealed? Koyach HaGvul means the Rebbe can contain himself, can limit himself. That itself is the Helen. So that's why it's called Nisal. That's called Yam. But that's why it's called Yam, because it's Koyach HaGebola. That he calls it Oisis Nisalim Ba'Oisis Rishim. It's also called Oisis. Ba'akav hu P'chinas Hagilu Sheba B'mido Gvul. P'chinas Mido Mishkul is P'chinas Gilu Ba'Oilis. Mashenkin Kav is the lower level, the Oretz, which is P'chinas Mido Gvul. It's limited and measured. Meile can be the Gilu Ba'Oilis. So the Rishimu is the Helem that creates Oilamis that are separate. Mashenkin Kav means that it is Mizgala Ba'Oilamis. All right. Okay, now I'm gonna get tomorrow and Thursday. I'm gonna be here. I'll let know. And here for sure I'm not gonna be, but I don't know if I'll do it because I'm not sure if I'll be in a place that I can have access to a place I can sit and speak. So I'll let you know later. All right.
Yeah.